Quitting the bar isn't the hardest part. What comes after is. Most relapses don't happen on a bad night. They don't happen because of one dramatic mistake. They happen during predictable phases. If you understand these phases, you understand the pressure. And if you understand the pressure, you stop being surprised. Who knows, you might actually be able to do something about it. Today we're breaking down the 3 psychological stages after a bargirl quits the scene. Because quitting is not the finish line, it's the starting gun. Phase 1, Relief plus Fantasy. This phase usually lasts from 1 week to around 4. This is the honeymoon exit. Emotions are high and this phase feels powerful. She feels like she's finally done with nightlife, that she's starting fresh. And the man feels chosen. Both finally feel that they've discovered something real in the fantasy of nightlife. There's genuine relief. Underneath that relief, though, the seeds of destruction have been sowed. Even as the bargirl feels relief from double lives, old contacts continue to message her. For a bargirl, it isn't quite so simple as leaving the bar. Even if she's only worked there for 3 months, she has likely accumulated hundreds of male contacts. They will continue to put pressure on her to resume work, sometimes knowingly and other times unknowingly. This is where most bargirls make a tactical mistake that leads them right back to the lifestyle they're running from. They either ignore the contacts and don't tell the man, or they reply loosely and don't tell the man. Either way, the seeds have been planted. From the man's perspective, the idea that everything will now stabilize because the environment has changed permeates his mind. The emotional intensity of this phase gets fueled by momentum of action. The decision itself creates adrenaline, and the relationship deepens quickly. While the closeness resulting from reassurance can feel like progress, most men miss a very important truth of this phase. Phase 1 is powered by emotion and little else. There's no structure being built to ensure relationship integrity. There are no financial plans being made to offset future pressure. The relationship is still glowing in the aftermath of the event, so no one misses the validation yet. This phase is fragile because it hasn't been tested, yet it feels permanent. But once reality hits, the fantasy soon fades. Phase 2, Boredom plus Financial Anxiety. The time frame of this phase is usually from month 2 to month 4. This is where most exits happen. The adrenaline of quitting the bar wears off. Daily rhythm slows. The nightlife stimulation is gone, and the nervous system starts recalibrating. For the bargirl, she is starting to feel uneasy and strangely vacant. That's because nightlife is high dopamine. There's music, male attention, competition from females, fast cash. And this happens every night. Normal life is much quieter. Once routine replaces such an intense lifestyle, the quiet can feel unsettling. She may not even understand what is happening internally. She just feels restless, irritable, and unsure of herself in a way that makes her deeply uncomfortable. Then financial anxiety creeps in. Even if you're supporting her, the multiple streams and ability to make quick cash is gone. Before she had multiple options. Now she is one argument or mistake away from having nothing to fall back on. Dependency feels risky even in a loving relationship, and especially if she has survived through optionality her entire adult life. This is where the tension starts to build. At this point, the man usually makes one fatal mistake. You might interpret her mood shifts as ingratitude or even as signs of deception. Most bargirls won't understand what is happening to them on a neurochemical level either, so she will interpret her own discomfort as doubt in the relationship. This is the phase where misunderstandings can slowly blossom into something more destructive. Even though nothing dramatic is happening on the surface, internally, a lot is happening, because you remember those male contacts that continue to message her across various social media platforms. Well, they're not stopping. It's akin to an alcoholic getting requests to go to the bar every day. Her withdrawal from stimulation makes this pain even more acute, and this is when she begins romanticizing the past, not because it was perfect, but because it was familiar and safe with predictable rewards. You might notice her posting more photos from her bar days, Or she suddenly increases messages and video calls to her friends still in Nightlife. Nostalgia soon takes over, and once that happens, she already has one foot in the exit. Before we take a look at Phase 3, I just want to encourage anyone who hasn't already subscribed to do so. It would be immensely helpful for the channel. Let's continue. Phase 3, Identity Vacuum. This typically happens around month 4 after quitting the bar. If she makes it past boredom and financial anxiety without relapsing, something deeper emerges. Silence. The old identity is gone, but the new one hasn't been fully built. She is no longer that girl who worked in the bar. But who is she now? For months or even years, her identity included being desired, being socially visible, being financially fluid. Remove that structure and there's a void. Humans don't tolerate undefined identities for long. We need to know who we are. We need to know our position relative to our peers and society. Without a clear new identity, doubt expands. Have you ever heard someone say they were lost in finding themselves? Well, this is exactly what a bargirl experiences at this stage. And this is where the path splits. She can follow the path towards reinvention. She builds new skills, new routines, new income streams, and new social circles, all unrelated to Nightlife. If her reinvention touches Nightlife at all, she will almost certainly relapse. But if she's able to do all that, she will eventually replace the identity she left behind. Or she can follow the path toward regression. This is the most common path. She reconnects with old friends, she just visits, but each check-in is a reminder of how her past life felt. Relapse rarely looks dramatic, it drifts. It starts small. Remember all those male contacts messaging her? It usually starts there. Maybe it's a video call with an old client she doesn't tell you about. Maybe it is flirting after an argument. Whatever is the case, her participation in her old world increases the odds of relapse dramatically. And once that happens, you're right back to day one. Here is where most relapses happen. It's not phase 1. Phase 1 is strong. It's not even the beginning of phase 2. It's the transition between phase 2 and phase 3, when boredom turns into self-doubt, when financial anxiety turns into fear, when silence turns into, maybe this isn't who I am. If there is no new identity forming, the old one feels magnetic, and she will inevitably be pulled back. This is where men start to self-sabotage. When a bargirl quits the bar, most men equate that to loyalty. It is not. Quitting equals detox. Transformation requires rebuilding. If you mistake early enthusiasm for permanent change, you'll panic when phase 2 tension appears. You'll think, she's changing back. Sometimes she is. Sometimes she's just uncomfortable. But if you can't understand her struggle, you overreact to small signals. And it is that overreaction that accelerates her relapse. When she starts seeking outside relief from the relationship, then you know you're on the verge of relapse if it hasn't happened already. So what makes the transition stick? Successful exits usually include a financial replacement plan. A man will never be able to fully replace the money she earns from the bar. And even if he could, the cash would still be missing all the intangibles that come with it. Thrill, validation, a sense of competency, leverage. So even if a man was able to replace her income to the bot, he will never be able to replicate how she feels when she gets it. That's why daily routines are important. New peer groups who encourage healthier lifestyle habits, clear boundaries in the relationship that have been explicitly agreed upon. If it feels like you are talking down to her, then you are not having a discussion. You are giving a commandment. And commandments are meant to be broken in the bargirl's world. Bottom line, if she doesn't have a sense of ownership of the change, then the pull of her old life remains and drift is almost certainly guaranteed. Once you understand these phases, you won't be shocked when discomfort appears. You won't confuse boredom with betrayal. You won't confuse anxiety with lack of love. And you won't mistake nostalgia for destiny. Some women relapse because they never intended to leave. Some relapse because they didn't build a new identity fast enough. That difference matters. In the next video, we're going to break down what men mistake for change in nightlife settings. A lot of the signs are already there, but some men deceive themselves into seeing something that isn't there. Until next time, stay sharp.